Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman once looked like the perfect Hollywood story. Love, fame, and a future written in gold. But behind their flawless image, cracks were forming that no one could see. After years of silence, Tom is finally reacting to their divorce. And what he reveals now could forever change the way the world remembers their marriage. The golden couple, cracks. Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman were never just a couple. They were a Hollywood monument, a breathtaking symbol of glamour and power. When they first appeared together, the world believed it was witnessing a fairy tale written in neon lights. Two of the most desirable stars alive, hand in hand, conquering Hollywood one blockbuster at a time. Their smiles were perfect. Their chemistry was undeniable. Every photograph felt like a promise that love could actually survive in a place built on make-believe. But behind the flash and applause, real life waited. And real life has no mercy for legends. Their schedules grew into monsters neither of them could control. One film after another, countries flashing by like scenery from a train window traveling too fast. They were constantly surrounded by millions. Yet somehow, they were lonely together. The more successful they became, the less time they had to hold on to what they once believed was unbreakable. Hollywood adored them. Headlines worshipped them. Fans looked up to them as proof that fairy tales weren't dead. But what the world didn't see were the quiet moments of doubt that crept in after the cameras disappeared and the crowds went home. Arguments whispered behind guarded doors. Silence replacing comfort. Emotional distance building brick by brick. And slowly, their dream turned into a performance neither of them knew how to stop acting in. The golden couple, the pair who once promised to be each other's anchor, found themselves drifting in opposite directions. Tom buried himself deeper into work. Nicole searched for something more than the shadows cast by his fame. They were still posing on red carpets, still giving press interviews, still telling the world everything was fine. But perfection is often the loudest lie. Everyone saw a love story. They were living a countdown. The cracks were there, growing, just waiting for the moment everything would finally break. The quiet unraveling. Divorce doesn't begin with a signature. It begins with silence. A silence that grows louder than any argument ever could. For Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, that silence crept in quietly, disguised as long workdays, distant film sets, and excuses about career commitments. They still smiled for the cameras. They still held hands when the world was watching. But behind every photo was a growing truth. The love that once held them together was slipping away, grain by grain, through their fingers. Nicole started craving independence, a voice that wasn't drowned out by Tom's rising empire. She had her own dreams, her own identity, her own path that demanded attention. But Hollywood has a habit of putting one name above the other. And in their story, Tom's name was written in bigger lights. Tom believed he was protecting their future by working harder. Nicole started to feel like she was fading into the background of someone else's success. Love became a shadow, always there, but never fully seen. They stopped talking about forever. They started talking about schedules. They stopped planning a future. They started planning escapes. The distance that once felt temporary now felt permanent. Separate hotel rooms on set, private calls behind closed doors, red carpets where their hands held but their hearts let go. And the world continued watching, convinced they were unbreakable. But behind their polished image, they were becoming strangers living under the same spotlight. The laughter they once shared was replaced by rehearsed lines. Their home turned into a place where silence waited for them at every door. It wasn't a sudden collapse. There were no dramatic scenes, just two people quietly walking away in slow motion. By the time the news finally reached the public, the marriage had already ended in their hearts. The divorce papers were only paperwork, a confirmation the fairy tale had already vanished, long before anyone realized. And the world never saw it coming. The reaction. Tom speaks. Tom Cruise had always guarded his private life like it was a classified mission. He never let the world see cracks beneath the polished persona. Every smile, every interview, every appearance, perfectly managed, perfectly controlled. But divorce changes everything. It reveals what fame works so hard to hide. When the news broke, Nicole Kidman's voice filled the headlines first. Interviews, quotes, confessions wrapped in calm elegance. She spoke of freedom. She spoke of rediscovering herself. And while she portrayed her side as a journey of emancipation, Tom stayed silent, at least for a moment. Hollywood waited for his response, breath held. And then, he spoke. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't chaotic. But every word carried weight. Tom revealed that he was blindsided, that he didn't see the divorce coming, that Nicole walked away without warning, leaving him in a darkness he had never prepared for. The world gasped. The power dynamic shifted. Tom exposed the part nobody expected. He wasn't the one who wanted out. He implied Nicole orchestrated the end, that she rewrote the narrative to make herself look like the wounded one, while he was the one left bleeding. He warned that not everything she was saying was the truth, that sometimes the victim isn't the one crying the loudest, but the one who says nothing at all. The media pounced. Fans picked sides. Was Nicole hiding something? Was Tom revealing the part she didn't want anyone to know? This wasn't just a breakup. It became a story of betrayal, shock, and exposure. Tom's calm veneer finally showed the hurt underneath. A man who gave everything to a marriage, only to be painted as the problem. And once he opened that door, even a crack, the world saw a different picture entirely. Maybe Nicole Kidman didn't leave because the love was gone. Maybe she left because the truth was catching up. Fallout and legacy exposed. Once Tom Cruise spoke, nothing could be taken back. Nicole Kidman had built her story, her truth, a narrative polished for sympathy and admiration. But Tom's reaction changed the entire equation. Suddenly, every headline shifted. Every interview she had given was re-examined. Every detail was questioned with a sharper eye. Hollywood doesn't choose sides quietly. It broadcasts its verdict. Nicole's name, once untouched by controversy, now carried doubt beneath its shine. People began to wonder if she had left because the marriage failed, or because she had already chosen her next spotlight. Rumors whispered that she traded a husband for freedom, or something bigger, that she crafted a public image where she was the one who suffered, while Tom stayed silent and took the fall. But silence has a way of becoming suspicious, and confession has a way of rewriting the past. Tom, for the first time in a long time, became the one people defended, the star who was left behind, blindsided by a woman the world assumed was the angel in their story. His honesty made him human. And humanity is a currency more powerful than fame. Fans began to pick apart every red carpet photo, every interview from the final years of their marriage. They saw what they missed: the distance, the staged smiles, the avoidance in their eyes. The internet did what it always does. It investigated. It judged. It chose its villains and heroes. The legacy of their love, once glamorous, breathing perfection, now looked like a perfectly framed illusion. And both stars were forced to live with the fallout. Nicole stepped into a future where every success would now be chased by questions. Tom stepped into a world where vulnerability finally gave him the support he never asked for. Their story did not end with lawyers or headlines. It ended with two legacies rewritten by truth. Because in Hollywood, the most dangerous weapon is not a scandal. It is the moment someone finally decides to speak. Two stars, one broken love story. The truth is out. And the world will never look at Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman the same way again. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe and click the next video for more incredible Hollywood stories you won't want to miss.